The room fell silent as Edgar Cayce settled into the familiar trance state that had defined his remarkable life's work. His eyes closed, his breathing deepened, and those present could sense that invisible bridge forming, the one that connected this humble man from Kentucky to what many believed was the Akashic Records, the universal consciousness that held all human experience. Through his gift of accessing these divine realms while asleep, Cayce had revealed profound insights about dreams that few in modern times had dared to acknowledge. That dreams were not mere phantoms of sleep, but sacred corridors to the divine. Before we continue, drop a quick hi in the comments and let us know where you're watching from. It really helps support the channel. Edgar Cayce, often called the Sleeping Prophet, approached dreams with a reverence rarely seen in Western thought. For him, dreams were not random neural firings or psychological curiosities. They were sacred encounters, divine messengers that carried wisdom from realms beyond ordinary consciousness. Cayce believed with unwavering certainty that every night, as the physical body rested, the soul journeyed into spiritual dimensions where guidance awaited those who learned to listen. Dreams, Cayce would often explain in his readings, are the meeting place where the soul may commune with the divine. This perspective wasn't merely philosophical speculation, but emerged from over 14,000 documented readings he gave while in trance states. Night after night, as most people's consciousness dimmed in ordinary sleep, Cayce discovered that higher awareness could actually expand, creating a receptive state where divine guidance could flow unimpeded by the analytical mind. What made Cayce's understanding of dreams so revolutionary was his insistence that they served a practical purpose in everyday life. Unlike some esoteric traditions that viewed dreams as symbolic puzzles or meaningless phantasms, Cayce saw them as functional tools for living. The dreams of the entity, he would say, referring to the individual, are for the entity's own understanding, own development. This wasn't abstract theology, but practical spirituality. Dreams were the divine's way of providing personalized guidance for health, relationships, spiritual growth, and life direction. Perhaps most striking about Cayce's approach to dreams was his emphasis on their predictive and preventative qualities. While modern psychology often focuses on dreams as reflections of past experiences or current conflicts, Cayce consistently emphasized their forward-looking nature. Dreams, he explained in reading 294:15, are the experiences of the soul in its sojourns in the spiritual or mental realms. Through these nocturnal journeys, the soul could glimpse potential futures, receive warnings about health issues not yet manifested in the physical body, and preview coming challenges or opportunities. This preventative aspect of dreaming appears repeatedly throughout Cayce's readings. He described how dreams often contained health warnings, symbolic messages about imbalances in the physical body that hadn't yet manifested as symptoms. One might dream of water damage in a house before discovering plumbing issues, or of a car breaking down before experiencing heart problems. The symbolism, while personal and sometimes cryptic, served as an early warning system designed by the higher self to protect the physical vehicle. Yet Cayce was careful to distinguish between different types of dreams. Not all nocturnal experiences carried equal significance. He categorized dreams into several distinct types, each serving different functions in the soul's journey. There were prophetic dreams that offered glimpses of possible futures, guidance dreams that provided specific direction for decisions, symbolic dreams that communicated through the language of personal metaphor, processing dreams that helped integrate daily experiences, and spiritual visitation dreams where communion with other souls or higher beings occurred. What separated Cayce's understanding from conventional dream interpretation was his insistence that dream symbols were deeply personal. One person's symbols, he would explain, may not be another's at all. While some dream dictionaries offer universal meanings for common symbols, Cayce emphasized that the divine speaks to each soul in a language tailored to their unique consciousness. A snake might represent healing for one person, temptation for another, and transformation for a third, depending on their personal associations, cultural background, and spiritual journey. This personalization extended to how Cayce advised people to work with their dreams. Rather than imposing external interpretations, he encouraged individuals to develop their own relationship with their dream life. Keep a record of dreams, he would instruct those seeking readings, and correlate them with the experiences in the material world. This methodical approach, writing dreams upon waking, noting emotions and key symbols, looking for connections to waking life, was not just about interpretation, but about developing a dialogue with the divine forces speaking through the dream state. Cayce also revealed something many spiritual traditions had long suspected, but rarely articulated so clearly. Dreams could serve as a training ground for spiritual development. In the dream state, souls could practice spiritual principles, explore different approaches to challenges, and experience the consequences of various choices without the limitations of physical reality. This dream school, as some Cayce students came to call it, allowed for accelerated spiritual growth, as the soul received both instruction and practical experience night after night. Most controversial among Cayce's dream revelations was his insistence that dreams could serve as meeting grounds between souls, both incarnate and discarnate. Long before modern research into shared dreaming, Cayce described how souls could communicate, teach, and heal one another during the dream state. Parents might visit children, spouses connect across distances, and even those who had passed from physical life could offer guidance to loved ones still incarnate. These weren't merely symbolic representations, but actual encounters between consciousness, unbounded by physical limitations. The spirit of truth, Cayce would explain, may manifest through the subliminal or subconscious in dreams, visions, or experiences. This direct communication from higher spiritual sources through dreams represented what many traditional religious institutions had deemed dangerous territory. By suggesting that individuals could receive direct divine guidance without institutional mediation, Cayce's perspective challenged established religious authority and placed spiritual autonomy back in the hands of the individual. Perhaps most practical among Cayce's dream teachings was his instruction on how to incubate specific guidance through dreams. Long before modern dream incubation techniques became popular, Cayce was teaching individuals how to request and receive specific guidance on health, relationships, and spiritual questions through their dreams. The technique was simple yet profound. Clearly formulate your question before sleep. Request guidance with sincere intention, and maintain a receptive, expectant attitude. The answers would come, though not always in expected forms. This approach to dreams as interactive rather than passive experiences stood in stark contrast to the prevailing views of his time. While Freudian and Jungian approaches were beginning to recognize the psychological significance of dreams, they still largely viewed them as expressions of unconscious material rather than channels for transpersonal guidance. Cayce's perspective bridged psychological understanding with spiritual revelation, suggesting that dreams operated at multiple levels simultaneously, addressing psychological needs while also serving as conduits for divine wisdom. What made Cayce's dream revelations particularly remarkable was that they emerged not from academic study or religious doctrine, but through direct experience. This humble man with limited formal education discovered through his own extraordinary trance states that dreams were not peripheral to spiritual life but central to it. The best and most effective prayer, he once stated, is finding oneself in the attitude of a dream. This curious statement suggested that the receptive, open consciousness of dreaming represented the ideal state for communion with the divine, more effective even than conventional prayer. Cayce's understanding of dreams also extended to what modern researchers now call lucid dreaming, the awareness that one is dreaming while still in the dream state. Decades before scientific research confirmed this phenomenon, Cayce was describing how individuals could develop conscious awareness within their dreams, thereby gaining greater ability to seek specific guidance, visit spiritual realms, or communicate with higher beings. This conscious dreaming represented a higher octave of dream experience, one where the dreamer became an active participant rather than merely a passive recipient of dream content. However, Cayce was also careful to warn about the misuse of dream consciousness. With greater awareness came greater responsibility. Dreams could be channels for the highest spiritual guidance, or could become playgrounds for the ego if approached with impure motives. The purpose, he would emphasize, must ever be constructive, never for curiosity or for self-glorification. This ethical dimension of dream work reflected Cayce's broader spiritual philosophy that all gifts and abilities were meant to serve others and honor divine principles. As modern neuroscience begins to unlock the mysteries of consciousness during sleep, many of Cayce's insights are finding unexpected validation.
Contemporary research into sleep states, memory consolidation, and consciousness has revealed that the brain indeed processes information differently during dream states, potentially becoming more receptive to connections and insights that escape the waking mind. What Cayce described through spiritual language, science is now approaching through the study of neural networks and consciousness states.
Among the most profound aspects of Cayce's dream teachings was his insistence that dreams could facilitate healing, not just psychologically but physically. Numerous readings described how the right guidance received in dreams could help resolve physical ailments that had resisted conventional treatment. This wasn't merely about receiving diagnostic information, though that occurred frequently, but about the dream state itself serving as a healing environment where the soul could work directly with the body's subtle energies and patterns, reharmonizing what had fallen into dissonance. This healing potential extended beyond the individual to collective dreams as well. Cayce suggested that at certain pivotal moments in history, similar dream themes might appear to many different dreamers simultaneously, a kind of collective dream guidance for humanity during times of great transition. These shared dream motifs weren't coincidental, but represented the divine speaking to human consciousness at a collective level, offering guidance for civilizational challenges and evolutionary thresholds. Yet for all his emphasis on dreams as sources of spiritual guidance, Cayce maintained a remarkably grounded approach. Dreams required interpretation, discernment, and confirmation. Not every dream carried profound meaning, and not every interpretation was accurate. He advised dreamers to test dream guidance against spiritual principles, common sense, and the validation of waking experience. This balanced approach protected against both dismissing valuable guidance and following misleading dream impressions. The interpretation of dreams, Cayce would explain, is not only the understanding of symbols, but the application of their message in daily life. This practical orientation prevented dream work from becoming merely an interesting intellectual exercise. The true measure of a dream's value lay not in its mystical qualities, but in how effectively its guidance improved one's waking life, relationships, health, and spiritual development. A profound dream that went unheeded was less valuable than a simple dream whose guidance was applied. The central revelation of Cayce's dream philosophy, the forbidden truth that many religious institutions found threatening, was ultimately quite simple. The divine speaks directly to each soul through dreams, without need for external authority or institutional mediation. This democratization of spiritual guidance challenged hierarchical religious structures and placed the means of divine communion within every person's reach. No special status, education, or ceremonial role was required. Only the willingness to pay attention to the nightly messages arising from one's deeper consciousness. In the decades since Cayce's transition from physical life in 1945, his insights about dreams have spread far beyond the modest Virginia Beach headquarters of the Association for Research and Enlightenment, ARE, that preserves his work. Thousands of individuals worldwide have applied his dream guidance methods, keeping dream journals, forming dream study groups, and developing their own personal relationship with this mysterious state of consciousness that occupies nearly a third of human life. Perhaps the most enduring aspect of Cayce's dream legacy is the profound respect it fosters for the mystery of consciousness itself. In an age increasingly dominated by materialist perspectives that reduce consciousness to mere brain function, Cayce's view of dreams offers a compelling alternative, one where consciousness transcends physical limitations and connects to transpersonal dimensions of reality. Dreams, in this view, are not random neural firings, but meaningful expressions of a soul journeying through multiple dimensions of experience. As Edgar Cayce returned from one of his remarkable trance states, often exhausted but renewed in purpose, he carried with him a profound conviction that would shape his life's work. The boundary between heaven and earth, between divine guidance and human understanding, was far more permeable than most dared to imagine. And each night, as humanity slumbered, that boundary dissolved completely, allowing precious wisdom to flow into receptive minds. The forbidden truth about divine messages in dreams wasn't that they were rare or reserved for the special few, but that they were universally available to all who would learn to listen with the heart as well as the mind. For Cayce, this wasn't merely theoretical. The thousands of documented cases where dream guidance led to verified healings, resolved seemingly impossible problems, or provided information that could not have been obtained through ordinary means, stood as testimony to his central message. The divine speaks through dreams not occasionally, but continually, offering each soul exactly the guidance needed for their unique journey. The only question was whether we would develop the awareness to receive it. In his quiet Virginia Beach home, surrounded by those seeking healing and guidance, Edgar Cayce would often remind visitors of words that had come through his own trance state. Dreams are today, as of old, God's way of speaking through the souls of men. This wasn't a new revelation, but an ancient understanding being restored. A forbidden truth too powerful to remain forgotten in an age desperately in need of divine guidance. Each night, as consciousness shifts and the analytical mind surrenders to deeper states of awareness, that sacred conversation continues, for those with ears to hear and hearts to understand. The veil between worlds thins each night as we enter the realm of dreams. Edgar Cayce knew this not as abstract theory, but lived experience. His life stood as testimony to a profound truth. The divine has never stopped speaking to humanity. We have only forgotten how to listen. Perhaps in rediscovering the sacred language of dreams, we might find again that direct connection to guidance, purpose, and meaning that Cayce's work so powerfully demonstrated. As you contemplate your own dream life after watching this exploration of Cayce's insights, remember that the same divine connection he accessed remains available to you. Your dreams are not random images, but personalized messages waiting to be understood. Begin tonight by simply asking for guidance, keeping paper by your bed, and writing down what comes. Thank you for journeying with us into the profound world of Edgar Cayce's dream revelations. If these insights resonated with you, please leave your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one and value your perspective deeply. Give this video a like if you found it helpful, as it helps share these timeless wisdoms with others searching for deeper understanding. Subscribe to continue exploring the boundaries of consciousness with us in future episodes. Remember, in the words that came through Cayce himself, dreams are today, as of old, God's way of speaking through the souls of men.